impact inside the prison, he was put under surveillance from then. 1950, he hadn't even come out yet and started his real work. But he was already under surveillance. And he tells us that when he traveled in 1964, when he traveled to Mecca, when he traveled to Africa, all over Africa, he went to several different countries in Africa. He said he was being trailed by the CIA. Everywhere he went, he said they were there, trailing him. And I'm saying to you this afternoon, brothers and sisters, that the biggest threat that this African man posed, and I want to remind us that there were many Africans who were murdered under the American white supremacist system, who never had international profiles. Medgar Evers comes to mind. But there were many others who were even less known than Medgar Evers. Who were murdered, who were massacred by the forces of white supremacy in America, but never had international profile. The biggest threat to global white supremacy is African nationalist Pan-Africanism. That is the biggest threat. Not workers of the world united. The biggest threat is African, the African world united. They can deal with the workers of the world united, but they still hold the purse strings.
That's right.
They still control the finances of the world.
Of the workers,
But when Africans of the world are united in our spirit, in our culture, when Africans of the world unite, it's all over for them. It's all over for them. Remember the words. Remember the words of J. Edgar Hoover. We will stop the rise of a black Messiah who can unify and electrify the masses of the black people. The masses of who?
The black people.
Did he say the workers?
No.
The masses of who?
The black people.
Who was J. Edgar Hoover? The head of the FBI.
That's right.
And he's saying, who can unify and electrify the masses of the black people?
The black masses.
He says we have denial objectives. Our objectives are, we must not allow the revolutionary black Messiah to get through to the youths. The who?
The youths.
No, the revolutionary black Messiah to get through to the youths. He said if we allow the revolutionary black Messiah to get through to the youths, then it's all over for us. Was Omowale Malcolm X a revolutionary black Messiah? Come on, brothers and sisters. And if the revolutionary black Messiah is a threat to the American establishment, what will he do when he gets to Africa?
That's right.
If he connects with the Africans in Africa,
And
if he wants to revolutionize the Africans in Africa, and if the Africans in Africa are revolutionized, then what happens to global white supremacy? It's all over. It's all over, brothers and sisters. That is the biggest threat. And it is important. You see, when we deviate, when we deviate from the philosophy of Garveyism, we get confused.
That's right.
Mama Frances Cress Welsing says if you don't understand white supremacy, what it is, and how it affects you, then everything else that you think you understand will only confuse you. Yeah? Then she talks about white supremacy. She talks about propaganda as a weapon of white supremacy. And she talks about language and symbolism as the ammunition, let's say, of propaganda. She said we must learn. She said we must learn to decode.
Yes.
If we do not learn to decode the language and symbolisms of white supremacy, then we will lose the war. We must decode language and symbolism. The symbolism of Omowale Malcolm X going to Africa, connecting with Africa. The symbolism of Omowale Malcolm X as a revolutionary black messiah, connecting with the source from whence we were dragged and whence we were abused. Are you with me, brothers and sisters? The symbolism of Omowale Malcolm X being given an African name and saying, this is the greatest honor ever bestowed on me. The power of that. When so many Africans has the ear of this great man. We need to understand, brothers and sisters, the symbolism of a Barack Obama. Last night we were told, someone asked a question, whether within the context of Omowale Malcolm X's legacy, whether Barack Obama represents a compliment to Malcolm X's legacy or a contradiction, and we were told it represents a compliment.
No. Shame. Out of order.
And I'm not trying here to cast aspersions on Barack Obama.
No.
He might well have good intentions. I'm not necessarily convinced. I've not seen any evidence to convince me that his intentions are good, that his intentions are noble. I've not seen the evidence. But it may well be hidden somewhere. He might well be playing a clever game. I hope that is the case. Why should I hope anything else? I have a vested interest in hoping that that is the case. But there is another side that we need to look at.
Look at it.
The nature of the white supremacist beast.
That's right.
That has its different facets. Sometimes it's called imperialism.
Yeah.
We say we answer, we claim, we understand that. Sometimes it's called capitalism. These are all institutions of white supremacy. We don't deny that any of this exists.